You know, it's easy to take for granted water in the great state of Minnesota. It's one of the things that drew me here. It's one of the reasons why I moved here. I love camping in the desert. I love camping in the mountains. But I get homesick for Minnesota because I love the water. If you don't live here or if you've never been here, it's hard for you or anyone to imagine how much water is actually here. It's everywhere. They call this the land of 10,000 lakes, but that's actually an understatement. There's over 11,000 bodies of water that constitute themselves as lakes here. And that doesn't count the ponds and glacier potholes, streams, rivers, wetlands. Just to put this a little further into perspective, we have the largest surface area freshwater lake in the world. In fact, it's so big we have to share it with another country in 2 other states. This one lake of fresh water is larger than the whole state of South Carolina. We're talking a lot of water. And I could probably take it for granted too. Most Americans do. If you haven't been to a third world country, you don't really think about water. You walk over to your faucet, you turn it on, you get fresh water out anytime you want it. But I don't take it for granted because I do a lot of wilderness hunting, hiking, fishing, camping. And I know how important water is. Even though it's everywhere around me, I can't drink it. It would make me sick. So I have to figure out a way to filter or sterilize my water when I'm on the move. And I kind of incorporate that into my whole prepper mindset. As you watch all these disasters happening, Texas and Louisiana and Oklahoma this year, you can see how people can get overwhelmed. Even if they have a well, the water rises in their basement or rises out in their properties, and it'll foul that well up. And then they have to truck fresh water in. You don't want to be one of those people standing in line waiting for somebody to give you water. Identifying water sources locally, I make it a game with my family. We kind of, we'll go through as we're driving around or even traveling, visiting other states. We're always trying to identify emergency water sources. Where could we get water if we had to? In Minnesota, that's pretty easy. Like I was saying, you can take it for granted. My kids have a pretty easy time of it. All they'll say they could get water here in this creek or over at this pond. It gets a little harder when we travel out of state. It teaches them a lesson, so to speak, on how rare water can be and how dry other states are. When we went out to visit North Dakota and Wyoming this year, it was a challenge for the kids to find water sources in case something went wrong or we were stranded or there was a disaster. It's a lot drier out west. But no matter where we're looking for water, one thing that I try to drive home is that none of this is potable. I mean, it's right there in front of our face, but the diseases and bacteria inside that water could cause us a lot of problems and make the matters a lot worse. So, of course, I've done earlier vids for mass water sterilization. You can use pool shock and bleach. I have preferred filtration systems like the ceramic filter setup. And just through my experience with camping, I have large camp filtration systems, some pretty big pump filter systems, SteriPens for more personal use, even water bottles that come with water filters, life straws. I don't think anybody has more water filtration systems or have tried more than I have. I've tried them all. I also keep a good 2-week supply of water inside the house. And I keep receptacles around. This is one of my favorite. The water bob, where I can hold 100 gallons inside of a tub. I have a pretty extensive rain harvesting system as well. But the one thing that I bring up to my family and I want to pass on to you guys is that I think it's a good exercise to try to identify clean, drinkable water sources as well. It should be something at least that's on your mind. And again, it may not be as easy as it is for us in Minnesota, but it's still, I think, worthwhile A little bit of time spent might save a lot someday. Minnesota's got a lot of springs. This is just one of them. This is one of our favorite. And it's running. This is not pumped. This is running this way. It's been running this way since the first settlers hit the prairie here. I could actually generate quite a bit of electricity with that. It's really cold, 50 degrees. Most of the springs are, pretty cool water. But it's very clean, drinkable water, no filtration, no chemicals necessary. I come here once a week during the spring, summer, and fall just to collect the water here. It still runs this way in the winter, actually, but it's more of a pain in the butt to get the water jugs in there. But I just thought I would pass it on. It's something for you to think about. If you can identify clean water sources that are readily available in your local areas, just to be aware of them. I always see these media shots from the Red Cross of people smiling and picking up their water during disasters, and it's not really how it is. You don't want to be standing in line with all the other idiots waiting for the government to bring you water. You need clean, good water to live. It's a priority for a prepper.